Hi, it's Miss Saxon in the Media Center, and we are talking about gingerbread this week. Gingerbread is something that you see a lot of times around the holidays, and one of the reasons gingerbread was a holiday food is it's made with spices like cinnamon and ginger and cloves. And in the past, spices were really expensive, and so they were saved for a special occasion like the holidays. And I have some really fun books we've been talking about in our media lesson about the gingerbread man, and I read a book called The Runaway Rice Cake, which was a Chinese story that has a similar theme of something that's a baked item that comes alive and then runs away. But today I was going to share with you another book called Gingerbread Baby. Now, Gingerbread Baby is written by and illustrated by an author called Jan Brett, and she is really known for her artwork. She draws a lot of really beautiful, realistic pictures, and a lot of her books have kind of a wintry theme. And so I hope you enjoy this Gingerbread Baby, and I'll try to showcase some of the artwork because she really is known for her special pictures. It was cold outside. It was warm inside. A fine day for gingerbread, Maddie thought. Maddie's mother put the big blue bowl on the table and lit the stove. Maddie took down a worn-looking cookbook with an old-fashioned writing on the cover. He opened it up and turned to the page that said, Gingerbread Boy. They measured and mixed. Maddie rolled the dough onto the shape of a gingerbread boy, and they popped him in the oven. Bake a full 8 minutes, no more, no less. Do not peek, said the recipe. Maddie listened to the clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4, 5. Maddie couldn't wait any longer. He opened the oven door to take a peek, and instead of a gingerbread boy, out jumped a gingerbread baby. He pranced around the big blue bowl. I am the gingerbread baby fresh from the pan. If you want me, you can catch me if you can. Maddie's mother reached for the gingerbread baby to put him back in the oven, but he ran all around the kitchen. The door opened and in came Maddie's father. What's that delicious smell? He asked as the gingerbread baby tumbled through his legs and outside into the yard. Look at that gingerbread baby running away. He ran by the tabby cat. She twitched her tail and sprang at him. They rumbled and tumbled, but the gingerbread baby came out on top. He ran towards the garden wall. The dog caught a whiff of the tasty ginger and sniffed along beside him. But the gingerbread baby was halfway up when the dog caught him. He barked and barked as the gingerbread baby climbed over the wall. Maddie was still inside. He heard his mother and father yelling. He heard a cat meowing and a dog barking. And he heard the gingerbread baby shouting, Catch me if you can! Maddie opened up the worn-looking cookbook for the second time. Meanwhile, the gingerbread baby wheeled on down the path into the barn. The goats looked up as he somersaulted across their backs, and then the last one tried to catch him, but the gingerbread baby was too fast. Martha and Madeline were standing by the well when the gingerbread baby stopped to take a drink. They looked at each other and winked. Martha started to talk to him while Madeline tiptoed behind him with the bucket. But they couldn't fool the gingerbread baby. He took a braid from Martha and a braid from Madeline and tied them into a knot and then ran down the road. Meanwhile, back at the house, Maddie stirred and mixed and rolled the dough. He shaped it in the pan and put it in the oven. Tick-tock, tick-tock. 8 long minutes. But this time, he didn't peek. I will catch him if I can, Maddie said to himself. As he was bouncing along, the gingerbread baby saw a farm wagon just ahead. He jumped in and settled down for the ride next to Mama Pig. The smell of the gingerbread was too much for her. She tossed him high in the air, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. But the gingerbread baby twisted in the air and came down hard on her porky snout. I am the gingerbread baby, too quick for the mother and father, too fast for the cat and the dog and the goats, too clever for Martha and Madeline, too smart for the mama pig. Who's left? You can catch me if you can. That little gingerbread baby is sassy. Feeling smug, the gingerbread baby strolled along by himself until he came to a bridge that crossed over the village. Just as he got to the middle, he heard running feet behind him and saw a crowd of villagers ahead of him. The gingerbread baby was trapped. He jumped onto the railing and backflipped through the air and landed on a chunk of ice floating down the river. The ice bobbed along with the gingerbread baby, dancing on top and singing in a loud voice. Look at me, what do you see? The best gingerbread baby ever. Until his feet got cold and he jumped ashore. Who was watching from the trees? It was the fox. He crept up behind the gingerbread baby, ready to eat him up. But the fox couldn't help himself, and he licked his chops. Smack! Smack! The gingerbread baby heard him and ran as fast as he could. Just when the fox was catching up, the gingerbread baby saw milk and cheese with his can of milk. The perfect hiding place, he thought. He lifted up the lid and lowered himself inside. He was so pleased that he sang at the top of his gingerbread voice. Ha ha, hee hee, you'll never find me. I'm the gingerbread baby, catch me if you can. The milk and the cheese man heard the gingerbread baby's voice. Who is meddling with my milk? He shouted and lifted the lid, but the gingerbread baby was ready and he jumped up and tweaked his nose. That gingerbread baby, he gets in a lot of trouble. Now the milk and the cheese man, the fox, the villagers, Mama Pig, Martha, Madeline, the bleating goats and the barking dog and the meowing pig, the father and the mother were all after the gingerbread baby and getting closer, and he knew it. The brash boy was not as peppy and proud as he had been. He sniffed a familiar smell and followed his nose into the woods. He couldn't believe what he saw. There in the middle of the clearing was a gingerbread house, frosted with sugar, covered with candy and doors and peppermint handles. Wide open, the gingerbread baby clapped his hands with glee and ran inside. And look, you can see the little boy. He's watching. In a tick-tick-tock, everyone arrived in the clearing, but all they found were a few bits of frosting, a peppermint candy, and some crumbs. The father exclaimed, "The gingerbread baby has finally met his match. I wonder who it was. Let's go home and tell Maddie." "Hi, Maddie," said the father. "We never did catch that gingerbread baby. All we found were some crumbs in the snow." "I see you've been busy," looking at the gingerbread house Maddie was holding. "Too bad we never caught that gingerbread baby." "Too bad," said Maddie. Only Maddie could hear the tiny voice from inside the gingerbread house. "I'm the little gingerbread baby, lucky as can be, to live in the house that Maddie made for me." So this story kind of has a happier ending than the regular gingerbread man. The fox didn't eat the gingerbread baby, and the gingerbread baby ended up in the perfect gingerbread house. So I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe look for some other gingerbread stories. Have a good December.